Hey y'all, it's Poseidon. In this video, I just wanted to go over a topic that has been circulating a little bit on the internet. It was actually brought to my attention by my boy Hella Larry, so they bring this up to me. But the fact that the pro comp for Mortal Kombat 1 seems to be just completely half-baked, and meaning that, like, it seems like it was planned last second. Things weren't even concrete when they announced it. And one of the things being was the event that was going to happen in South America. So when it was announced, it showed that event like ECT was going to happen. Mind you, ECT was announced as a pro comp event about 2 weeks before ECT was going to happen. It was so late to the point where ECT actually had to keep registration open later than they were planning to, strictly for Mortal Kombat 1 so more people could register for it. So anyone who was planning on traveling like overseas, like it just wasn't going to be able to happen for anyone that doesn't previously planning on going outside of people who were close to ECT. You had to be probably at least in the North America to even have a shot of going to ECT last second to enter a pro comp event. And there's only 4 offline pro comp events: ECT, UFA, and a combo breaker, and then this Brazil event. And the Brazil event wasn't even announced when the pro comp was announced. It actually was announced about a week ago. It showed you where the venue was, the registration, and everything like that. And the thing with that is it was announced so recently, and the event is in about 2 months. And that makes it difficult for people who are going to travel, let alone in different countries, but to a different continent. How are they going to make that happen unless you have incredibly good circumstances? Like, you need to let your job know that you're not going to be able to make it. You need to be able to afford it. Some people, what about people who need to travel, who don't have their visas yet or don't have their passports? How are they going to, if it's just a huge thing. And the crazy thing also is that the venue is so small, we're gonna get into that they only have a 256 entrance cap for a pro comp event. And they have to put such a, I mean, it's still a decently large number. They probably won't even reach it, but the fact that they have to cap a pro comp event where people get points to qualify for a finale it's a bit insane. I don't know if any Capcom event, people could correct me if I'm wrong, has a cap on any of their events, because normally it's just the venues are very nice. They're big, and not to say this venue isn't nice, but it's just not that big, and it's hard to eventually take this seriously. Like we should be like, there's people that say we should be happy to have an event, we should be happy to have a pro comp, but and I agree that we should. But let me throw this hypothetical at you. Let's say that you're walking down the street with 4 of your friends, and a stranger comes up to you, and he gives your 4 friends $100, $100 bill, and then he goes and turns to you and gives you a $20 bill. Are you going to sit there and be happy that you were given $20, or are you going to be like, why was everyone else give 100? Why was I given 20? Like, that's kind of how this pro comp event feels, where we look at these other games getting so much and we're getting something, and it was like, just be happy that you're getting something, but it's literally so half baked compared to what other games are getting and what we have experienced previously in the past. For MK11, the pro comp, there was a tournaments every month. You had Combo Breaker, CEO, Evo, ECT, NEC, DreamHack Montreal, Vianality. All those events were part of the pro comp, including multiple last chance qualifiers in different continents. So people were able to qualify. There was an EU last chance qualifier. There was a NA last chance qualifier. There was a South American last chance qualifier. So it's kind of crazy. So I'm just gonna go over some tweets of top players. So these are top 10 players in the world, players who are trying to qualify for the pro comp, who have a legitimate chance and probably will, as long as the circumstances allow it. So it was initially, Rewind goes and says, was going to initially attend, but not going to attend anymore due to such short notice for an overseas event. Going to just bank my chances on qualifying for the combat combo breaker and online. Best of luck to all of you who intend, though, and see you guys at combo breaker. Now, it's pretty crazy that people who, like, it's just difficult to be able to get to all these events. And I know it is a luxury, so we can't be too upset about it. But at the same time, if they just gave more notice, there would be a lot more people going to these events. But they just kind of like did it in such a half baked way, as I've stated, that it doesn't seem like they honestly really care. They kind of just throwing stuff out there. We'll get more into how the venue looks and stuff like that. I'm going to go to Kombat, another top 10 player in the world, probably shoe in to qualify for the Pro Comp as long as circumstances make it the case. So the 1 month notice for an overseas event is insane. The whole Pro Comp has been a joke, and I'm seeing Killer Janox say that the venue is fit for a local and not a major. I'm going to compete in NA East / Combo Breaker, but this tournament is definitely one that I'm not sure of. Not to mention the whopping 30K prize pool that is sitting at the end of all this. It's not worth it. If you're playing MK right now, definitely focus on content creation, which should be your main focus. I'm going to try to make Final Combat, but it's not enticing to even try. Hey, shout out to content. Make sure you sub if you're not already. I really appreciate it. If you like videos like this, make sure to let me know as well in the comments. So I'm going to go over to what Hello Larry posted, and he's kind of who brought this to my attention. So shout out to Hello Larry. Make sure you're following Hello Larry 13 on Twitter. Twitter. This is the venue for the Brazil event. This is a local bar and cannot house more than 50 people, and the Pro Comp is advertised for a max of 256 people. This is a huge safety hazard, and it's a shame that NRS/WB went this cheap with the event. And that's just pretty insane. You look at it at first glance. I'm someone who I've traveled to a lot of events, and normally when you fly out to a big major event, one that has a lot of prestige and a lot of money, I mean, there's a 10K pop bonus here on top of Pro Comp points, on top of the registration fee, and this looks like, just from a glance, looks like a venue for like a regional. You know what I mean? Like I would drive like a couple hours, and go to a regional that had like 50, 60 people at it, maybe. But this is just from the outside. I don't want to shut down the venue. I'm sure it's very nice. I could just take a look at it. I've actually looked it up online, did a little research. Unfortunately, I couldn't see, like he said there's 50 occupancy. I'm not sure if that is what he found out through research or if that is just his estimation. But you take a look at this venue. This is the best picture that I could get. Yeah, you can see it even with my camera there. Let me actually, I'll turn on the camera for a second so we can get a better look at these. And you can see like this. I mean, there's like an outside part that like looks like they get housing people, and just this picture. I mean, you look at some of these other pictures, it doesn't look like, can you even fit 256 people there? And for an event like this, 256 people is just the cap for the players. You got to think about TOs, you got to think about commentators, you got to think about workers at the place. It looks like there's a bar there and stuff. There's going to be probably around 300 people if this event maxes out, which it might not. But is this even like, is this not a negligent venue? Like, it potentially could be. I wasn't able to find anything online. A lot of the things are in Portuguese, so because this event is happening in Brazil, so I wasn't able to do enough to find anything where it said max occupancy. But it just doesn't seem like it could house that many people. I feel like this could potentially be a hazard. I'm not 100% sure, so don't go, adding NRS or yelling at me if that's not the case, but it just seems like that potentially is the case. You can see other pictures here. It just, maybe this venue is a lot bigger than they're letting on, but from what it seems, you even saw a player from South America, Killer Janox, say that this venue is fit for a local. It's not fit for a major event where people are going to be traveling in, and then you consider the fact that it was short notice. People aren't going to even have the opportunity to go. This is a Pro Comp event where people who have the means and have the desire to travel can't even really do it because of just the short notice and just the half-baked nature of this whole thing. And having a 256 entrance cap, which is probably because of the venue, is just insane for a Pro Comp event, at least in my experience. But yeah, and I don't know. It's crazy because even like, so ECT was announced probably 2 weeks before, it was announced 2 weeks before ECT that it was going to be a Pro Comp event, and then UFA was like a month later, and you know what I mean. And then Combo Breaker was announced a couple months ahead of time, and then this event was announced within it, and it was announced that it was going to be in Brazil. There was no date. I even put a tweet out there. It was like, when is this event happening? And nobody knew because it wasn't even announced yet. And then they announced that it's going to happen in, I think at best case scenario, there was 2 months ahead of time, and like how are people gonna get their passports in time or stuff like that if you're in that situation? Or there's only a 256 entrance cap. What if you're someone who wanted to go and you have to wait? You're not going to register before you get your passport, and then it's halfway through February, you finally get it, you go to register and you can't because the cap was hit, and you can't qualify for the pro comp. There's only 4 offline pro comp events, and it's a huge advantage if you can make it to even if you huge advantage if you can make it to all of them. You know what I mean? There's probably only a handful of players. There's only one player that I know that has been to the previous 2 and is going to be at this one. That's King Gambler, and that's one player. And that's awesome, and I'm very, very happy for him. And I'm sure there might be other people. I know Guro also went to UFA and ECT. I know there's some EU players that went to both. But it just seems like this is just so half baked. And like, should we be happy that we even have anything at all, or should we be to the street with pitchforks being like, what is going on here? Because if you think of just fighting games in general, like you think of Street Fighter and maybe you think of Tekken and then you think of MK. Am I crazy for saying that? I don't think I am, when you just think of fighting games. And for something that's so big, and just to get something that's so, it seems like just not even put enough thought into, it's just, and I feel bad for people in South America, because they're a very strong region. There's so many good players in that region. There's Nicolas, Scorpion Prox, Killer Genox, Guy Exceptional, Gustavo Page, even young Chiquelo, and Agamotto I think that's what his tag is. But there's so many good players in this region, and there's probably not going to be as many people traveling in from other countries or continents to go here because of just how late this was announced. It just, I really don't know what to think about it. 256 entrance cap. I don't even know if it could fit that many people. Definitely know what you guys think. I think this Pro Comp has just been completely half-baked, and we're just going to have to see what happens. And I'm someone who, like, I'm making a top 100 player ranking. I'm someone who really cares about, the health of the competitive scene, but I also enjoy watching it. There's a lot of people that are going to be spectating, and this event could have been something big. It's one of the 4 Pro Comp events, and it's just announced so late. It's gonna be too difficult for potential top 10 players in the world who have the means to be able to go not going, because it was just too late. But let me know what you think in the comments below, and let me know if you think I'm crazy. I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day, and I hope we get some more clarification from NRS in the future about stuff that's happening. And there's online events that people can enter, so if you don't have the means to travel, every region, at least most regions, have an opportunity to compete online in the Pro Comp event. So try to do that, and until next time, guys, peace out.